Alright, background on the beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Fox Farm Brewery, and they are out of Salem, Connecticut, and this is their Tiddly. So this is an English style, a dark, mild in a Nitro can. It comes in at 3.8% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. This can is just over 7 weeks old. And I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Rick, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail boxing video I did that contains all the goodies that he hooked me up with. And he hooked me up with a lot. I'm talking a lot of awesome beer. However, in my opinion, this is the cream of the crop. Oh yeah, the cream of the crop. Sorry, I don't really do Macho Man, Randy Savage, all that well. So yeah, but anyway, the reason why this is the cream of the crop is because this is a bucket list beer for me. I first heard about this one back in 2022, and I put it on my bucket list, and I was like, I'd love to try that someday. And sure enough, Rick, about a month ago, was at the brewery having a pour of this on draft, and he actually tagged me in his Untapped check-in, and he said something akin to, "Sorry, Joe, I know you're jealous, but it had to be done." And I responded to him by saying, if you see cans of this at any point in the future, pick one up for me. I'll pay you for the beer, the shipping, whatever. And he just replied with, "Got you." As in, I got you. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, a beer mail arrived with this and a bunch of other awesome beers. So from the bottom of my heart, Rick, I can't thank you enough for all the cool beer you've sent me, the conversations we've had. It's been honestly mind-blowing. I've been able to try a lot of Fox Farm beer from you and another good friend of mine, a viewer of the channel, Steven. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I finally get the chance to try a bucket list beer. Now, a lot of you might be saying to yourself, why do you care about a 3.8% English-style dark mild in a Nitro can? What's the big deal? Well, here in the U.S., a lot of breweries don't brew milds of any sort, let alone dark milds, and most of them do not package said beers in whether they're bottles or cans. And Fox Farm does all kinds of different styles, and this is right in their wheelhouse, and it's in my wheelhouse. So I'm super stoked for this one. It's going to be a longer review. I think it's going to be delicious. I guess we're going to find out. So it does say on the side here to shake gently and pour hard. So we'll do a little bit of a shake. Maybe we'll even do a little bit of inversion here, a little bit more of a shake here. It says gently. I'm not going too rough. Now, if it does blow up and explode, I do have paper towels, but I am going to pour this hard. I will say, outside of like Guinness, who has the widget, a lot of Nitro beers have a tendency to, you can't pour them as hard as Guinness because they won't form like a perfect head and everything. A lot of times it won't even fit in the glass. I got this big pub style glass from Grow, so I'm hoping this works out. I guess we'll see. I'm going to crack it open. Let's hope it doesn't explode everywhere. Looks like it didn't. And then I am going to pour it pretty damn hard. So here we go. Now I'm going to stop it because I just don't know. All right, so it looks all right, but I probably wouldn't have been able to fit this entire can in here, even with the Nitro. So I'm going to leave a little bit in the can, which is unorthodox again for a Nitro beer, but it is what it is. You did not see a huge cascading effect, but does that look like a Nitro beer? Somewhat. I mean, it has a super creamy Nitro head, but the difference between this and say like a Guinness, there are some bigger bubbles and smaller bubbles you can kind of see. I don't know on that side. Yeah, there's definitely some you can see. So it doesn't look exactly like perfect, like super creamy and uber smooth, but I can just tell how the head is sitting, that it definitely has a Nitro look to it. The beer itself, it is a dark mild. It has more of like this darker brown color. There's some ruby red hints in there. It'll be pitch black probably on camera, but more of a deep dark brown color. Like I said, we got 3 fingers of this tan or khaki colored head, and it just looks super creamy. Yeah, so let's get a nose. Yeah, it smells absolutely amazing. The reason why I like dark milds is because it's kind of like drinking like a low ABV kind of brown ale into like a brown porter, or even like some American porters kind of have not like a huge like almost stout quality to them. And that's kind of what this is, like a sessionable like brown ale or porter, like a brown porter. The nose is just amazing. It's toasty like brown bread. But then there's chocolate. There's like a cocoa powder in here. And one thing I don't always get with dark milds is this actually has like a medium roasted kind of coffee vibe to it as well. Yeah, there's a little bit of caramel and toffee, molasses. It just has a lot of malty goodness. When people talk about sessionable beers and they're going, oh, yeah, try out this Pilsner, this Helles Lager, this or that. And I'm like, nope, this is what I want. Right here is what I want, because it just has all the notes you kind of expect out of a darker beer. But most of these are like sub 4%, and you could just crush a bunch of them. So yeah, despite the nitro, this has a big aromatic nose to it. Like a lot of nitro beers, like the aforementioned Guinness, the nose just kind of is dumbed down. Like one of my favorite nitro beers, Left Hand Milk Stout, the nose on that is not immaculate. The taste, on the other hand, is fantastic. And I've had the regular milk stout to compare to it. I've never done like a true side-by-side, but the nose on the non-nitro is always better. So I feel like nitro always kind of impedes the aroma to some degree. There's this slightly earthy and kind of like soil-esque bitterness, or I shouldn't say bitterness, hop character. Kind of balances everything else. Maybe even a little bit of a floral tinge. Yeah, this just smells awesome. It does. It smells like the perfect session beer for what I would want. So cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Rick. Hope it's delicious. Cheers. That would 100%, without question, be in my fridge. Oh my God, the aftertaste is so fantastic. I spilled a little bit. I don't remember where, but I spilled it. Yeah, this is, I don't want to say things I can't take back, but fuck it. This is probably, off of that first sip, the most flavorful sub 4% beer I've ever had in my life. The body, despite it being 3.8%, it's like medium bodied. It has a little heft there, but enough, there's enough heft to keep me interested in being like, this is not super watery. But at the same time, it's not too big of a body. Because I don't want something 3.8% drinking like it's 10% from a body aspect, but there's just enough to keep me interested body-wise without like turning me off like a watery nature. So that's cool. And the mouthfeel, super soft. It has very mild carbonation. Remember, it's like 70-30%. 70-30% nitrogen to CO2. So you have the allure of this beer being flat when you drink nitro, because a lot of people just are missing that, big carbonation you would get in a regular beer. There's still a little bit of it there, but it's very soft. It's incredibly smooth. It's creamy. It's nitro. Body, fantastic. Mouthfeel, damn near perfect. And the reason they would put something like this into a nitro can is to kind of mimic it being on cask. Now, if you go over to the UK and specifically England, you'll see a lot of milds, but they'll be on cask. Not saying all of them are, but a lot of them will be just cask, on cask. And this is trying to mimic that. Will it compare one for one? Probably not, but it's the best you can do if you're not getting it on cask. So, and the lacing already, fantastic. The taste, like I said, the most impressive 3.8% beer I've ever had, like sub 4%. Up front, there's a little bit of that toasty kind of brown bread quality. There's actually more cocoa and like a medium roasted coffee. It almost is giving me mocha vibes in the taste. Again, no adjuncts or anything here. Underlying caramel, toffee, molasses. Getting a big malty, I'll just say bold, malty character. And that's exactly what this is. Lots of malt sweetness up front. First maybe 2/3 of the palate, just all malt greatness. And then on the finish, I get hit with this earthy, slightly soil, like, it's hard to explain. I don't want to say dirty, but it has like kind of those like English hops you get where some people say coppercorn or copper coin. Some people would say earthy. Yeah, it just has that, again, earthy kind of quality to it. A very mild hop bitterness as well. Beautifully balanced, although it does lean a little bit to the malt side of things, which I think is expected for the style, but it's not like unbalanced. It's just a little bit like 60-40 malt to hop character and everything else in the beer. Same thing with sweetness, 60-40 sweetness to bitterness. There's a mild bitterness. There's more of a semi full-on dry kind of feeling. I could crush pints of this. If this was on cask or on nitro at Fox Farm, like Rick was drinking it, I would probably tear this beer apart. I'd have an unfathomable amount of pours, like without question. And especially nowadays with me drinking typically one beer a day, I could have 2, 3, 4 pints of this and it'd be the equivalent of having like a pour of like a barrel-aged imperial stout or something. Yeah, it's awesome. It's everything I thought it was going to be. Fox Farm is one of my favorite breweries in the U.S., one of my favorite breweries in the world. The fact that they can put out something like this, a 3.8% English style dark mild in a nitro can, and then go and like release like a big barrel aged barley wine or adjuncted imperial stout, come back to, a crazy, old school German style that you haven't heard about in 20 years. Like, they just do a bunch of weird stuff, but they do it extremely well, and a lot of stuff that you don't see in the US. So, like, as you can see, I'm speechless, and I talk a lot. So to be speechless in a review for me is not the norm. I think you know where I'm heading with this one. It's very hard for bucket list beers for me, and beers that I've always wanted to try, period, to live up to the hype in my own head. I don't give a crap what other people think about it, because I've told you guys this before. I appreciate everybody watches my channel. And even if you rely on my palate to whether, there's some people like, oh, you didn't like it, I'm not going to buy it, or you love it, I'm going to have to try it. That's all. That's a way. Like, I used to do the same thing when I'd watch beer tubers. But I will say this, the only way you know if you like a beer or a style or anything in life is if you try it yourself. You can rely on reviews, you can rely on, the masses to, is this a good place? Like, a lot of people go Google reviews and they'll, oh, this place gets a 4.5 out of 5 on Google, probably a good restaurant. Oh, it gets a 3.2, probably not a good restaurant. I get that, but you got to try it for yourself. And when it comes to beers, until I try it for myself, I really don't know what I think about them. This is not going to be a beer that a lot of you out there grab and like you just wax poetic like I am right now about it and just going nuts. But for the style, for what I want, the fact that they're trying to mimic the cask with nitro, the drinkability of this one, the flavor is the big thing here. This is the most, if you told me this was 6.5%, I'd be like, yeah, body checks out, taste checks out. It's 3.8. And it drinks bigger from a taste standpoint. So this is a sessionable beer because of the ABV, but the flavor is of something way bigger, and I just appreciate it. So Fox Farms, Tiddly, I'm going to give this, and you're going to see this in January. And I am reviewing this one the day after January 1st, so January 2nd. You're going to see this, and let me just tell you that this is the first official, I don't know what order these are going to be posted in because I'm doing all Imperial Beer Theme Month, but this is the official first 5 out of 5 for 2025. That's how good this beer is. That is an amazing sub 4% beer. This is just fantastic. So Fox Farm, kudos to you on all you do, but this to me is the fridge beer. If I lived close to the brewery like Rick does, I would always have cans of this in my fridge whenever they release it. No questions asked. I'd probably buy a case of it. I don't know. It's going to be a longer review. It is what it is, but here we are. Price point availability. Pretty sure it's only at the brewery, so got to go to Fox Farm. And then price point, $3.45 a can. So if you were to put that into a 4-pack, you're talking about $14 a 4-pack. Is that pricey for 3.8% English style dark mild? It is, but it's in a nitro can, and you can buy singles, so you don't have to buy an entire 4-pack, which I think is the coolest thing ever. More breweries need to do it. Fox Farm does it. Fines does it. A lot of other breweries do it. More breweries need to get with the times and allow you to buy singles if you don't want to. Even if you, let's say you had a 4-pack of this and it's $14 4-pack, charge $4 for that can so I can buy a single. I'd be okay with it. Just let me buy singles or mixed 4-packs or something, all right? Anyway, fantastic price point for a 5 out of 5 beer. For somebody who's like, hey, that sounds interesting, might be a little bit more expensive. For you, I understand. This is fantastic. 3.8%, you can't taste the alcohol, obviously. Yeah, 5 out of 5. Like, there's not much more to say. I'll take one more sip, make sure that I'm not effing up here. Honestly, the worst thing about this review is everything other than the beer, including my poor Randy Macho Man Savage impression. Just, it is what it is. But the cream of the crop, yeah, I don't know. So thanks again to Rick. If you guys have had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you think it was a 5 out of 5 amazing world-class English style dark mild? Do you think it was just okay? What do you think? I think if you're somebody who enjoys these lower ABV sessionable English styles like this, I think you'd agree that this is fantastic. I haven't had a lot of authentic ones on cask. I've never been in England, so I've never had any on cask in England, but if I ever go to England, I will definitely be drinking a lot of dark milds. No questions asked. And hopefully they're all on cask. So anyway, like I said, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section, let me know what you think about it. If not, what's your favorite English style, a dark mild, whether it's in a Nitro can, whether you had it on cask over in England, any of my UK friends and beer tubers, anybody out there, just let me know what you think. And once again, thanks to Rick for this beer. I have a lot of other beers from him I will be reviewing, but I wanted to get to this one pretty quickly because I've always wanted to try it and I finally got a chance to do so. So I apologize for the long review. If you follow the Beer Patrol, you know we like to ramble on like I am right now. And yeah, in fact, spoilers, I'm actually drinking 2 beers today. So you're going to see the other one before this one, but yeah, since it's 3.8, I was like, I can fit in another one, so I'm going to. Anyway, appreciate it. Thanks again, Rick. To the next one. Cheers.